Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today, we'll be taking a look at the new Playmates Wave 2 Godzilla the new Empire Godzilla Energized figure. Starting off with the packaging, we have Monsterverse on the top left. Godzilla the new Empire in the middle, the flashy background with the electricity and pink crystals. Godzilla and Kong themselves on the bottom left. And on the bottom right, we have the name of the figure, Godzilla Energized. Turning it to the side, we have more of those pink crystals and the name of the figure again. On the back of the box, we have Godzilla the new Empire and Monsterverse once again, and we have a somewhat unannounced promotional image of the figure in the middle. I've heard others say that the promotional image looks better than the final product. I will agree that the promotional image looks more film accurate. Over here, it says fully articulated and posable, which means that there's no action features. And here shows the battle drone that comes as an accessory. It's the same kind of drone that Godzilla fought while absorbing radiation. Below is the little description that is different for every figure. I really love that these are included as they are just so much fun to read. If only Mattel included stuff like that on the packagings of their Jurassic Park and World line. On the bottom, it shows all the other figures that are available. I have picked up Tiamat and will review her soon. The Kong with axe is the one that I'm least interested in, as I already have the SH Monster Arts version, which looks much better in my opinion. The other previously released Wave 1 figures are shown as well. Godzilla Evolved, Kong with Beast Glove, Suko with Doug, Shimo and Scar King. I did pick up Suko and Doug a few months ago and might review them if I ever find the time to do so. I'm still on the lookout for Shimo, as she's extremely hard to find and I haven't had any luck in the past few months. For Scar King, I'm going for the 1 in the 2 pack, as I like the additional paint that comes with it. Turning to the side again, we have Godzilla and Kong together with the film's title. And that would do it for the packaging. Let's start with the accessory that is included, the battle drone. The entire thing is made out of a grey plastic with no other paint on it. It does have tiny bits of detail, but not so much. It is a fun accessory to recreate the scene where Godzilla was absorbing radiation from a nuclear facility in France, if I remember correctly. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I got it wrong. Before we take a closer look at the figure, there is one piece of assembly required. Like majority of Playmates Monsterverse figures, you'll have to attach the tail, which can be a little difficult to do so, as a good amount of force is needed to get it in. Some of the spikes, although soft, can be sharp and might hurt your hand, so be sure to hold the Godzilla on the underside, between its legs and arms. Once you hear a click, that means you've attached the tail correctly. The battle drone accessory can be held by the Godzilla figure. Right now, I have Godzilla holding the drone in this position, but I'm sure other positions are possible as well. Looking at the sculpt, you'll see that the entire figure is covered in some nice scale detail from head to the tip of the tail. The dorsal spines on the back are translucent and unfortunately do not have much detail on them. However, Playmates did fix this issue with their Godzilla Evolved figures. The head and lower jaw are grey, while the rest of the neck is grey but with a coat of a light blue coloration added. The transition from grey and blue to just grey is not that abrupt like other parts of the figure that you'll see later, but I still wish that the entire head was blue. The eye is blue with a black pupil. I do wish that Playmates would improve the eyes on their figures, as they currently look cheap and lazy, which I've seen people mention. The teeth are painted white and the tongue is painted pink. I would prefer it if an actual tongue was sculpted, because this tongue is barely visible, and the only way of knowing that it is a tongue is because of the pink paint, but it's understandable since most of Playmates Godzillas come with an option to stick an atomic breath piece into the roof of the mouth, and a sculpted tongue will hinder that option. Like mentioned earlier, the dorsal spines are translucent. The smaller spines on the side are blue, while the bigger ones in the middle are mostly white with a nice transition from the blue. The entire inserted piece looks blue when viewed from the top. Moving down to the arms, they are grey with a coat of blue. The hands lack the coat of blue, creating an abrupt transition of colours between the arms and the hands. Unlike the transition of colours between the head and the neck, I immediately noticed this transition when I first saw the figure on store shelves due to how abrupt it is. After this review, I'll probably paint all of the grey parts blue to match the overall look of the figure. The claws are unpainted, but that doesn't bother me. Moving lower to the legs, they are grey with a coat of blue, just like the arms, body and neck. Like with the hands and arms, there is an abrupt transition between paint on the legs and feet, as the feet are grey without the blue coat applied to it. The claws on the feet are unpainted as well. Since the feet are a separate piece, I don't see why Playmates couldn't have used a blue plastic for them instead of grey. The underside of the figure is the same combination of grey and blue. Speaking of the underside, this is where one of my biggest issues with the figure comes in. If you look carefully, you'll notice that the figure has battle damage. Problem is that it can't be removed. You heard me, non-removable battle damage. The piece is literally pasted onto the body and painted over. You'll also notice that there are small holes that are there to make the removal of battle damage pieces easier, but since the piece is stuck there, all you are left with are seams that can be an eyesore to some. If I ever try to customize this figure in the near future, I might attempt to tear the piece out and see if there's flesh and bones underneath to be painted. Most of the time, Playmates pre-evolved Godzillas would come with two accessories, one being an atomic breath piece and the other being a battle damage piece. Since this figure only comes with one accessory, the battle drone, and did not come with an atomic breath piece, as Godzilla did not use his atomic breath in his energized form, it should have had a battle damage piece included. But to be fair, we did get one alright. Just glued to the figure. I don't really get the thinking behind this. If you're selling a sculpt that always included battle damage, then why not actually include the battle damage? Or if this figure was intended to specifically not have battle damage, then why not give the sculpt a little retool to remove the seams and holes on the figure's chest? Removing this feature limits playability and causes confusion on why the battle damage isn't working. The blue coloration continues to run down the tail until stopping halfway through and having a smooth transition into the grey plastic used for the entire figure. If the entire tail was blue, it would look so much nicer, as it also doesn't make much sense for the other half to be grey, since this specific Godzilla is supposed to be filled with energy. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I want Playmates to paint the entire tail blue. I'm saying that Playmates should use blue plastic for the tail, which can save cost for other parts, like the hands, to be painted. But that's nothing compared to what I'm about to show you, which is my second biggest issue with this figure. Do you see that? Apart from all the other flaws I've mentioned, this one takes the cake. There isn't any transition. None at all. Not even a tiny bit of blending. Forget what I said about the battle damage being stuck in place and it seems. This atrocity earns the title of an even bigger eyesore. Again, making the entire tail blue, base plastic or not, would make the tail area look way better than what it looks like now. Sorry for the small rant, but to record a fair review, I have to mention the cons along with the pros, even if that makes me come off as negative when I'm not trying to be. At the end of the day, I still like this figure and any that I review. If I didn't like or hated it, I wouldn't have bought it and instead saved my money for something else that I like and want. And that's all for detail and paint. I forgot to mention that there is a hole on the roof of the mouth that allows probably any Playmates atomic breath piece to be inserted. It's hard to see on camera but clearer in person. Even though we were denied battle damage, at least we still have the option to use atomic breath with this figure. For articulation, the mouth can open this wide and close completely flush. The neck can swivel, but there's not much range of motion. The arms can move 360 degrees. The legs can move back and forth. There is more range of motion backwards than forwards. The feet can barely swivel, so don't force it. The tail is on a ball joint that allows it to move up and down, side to side. And rotate 360 degrees. I'm not sure if this counts as articulation, but the spikes and dorsal spines on the tail and back are quite flexible. That would do it for articulation. Final thoughts: this Playmates Godzilla Energized is a nice figure, though it does have its flaws, such as the grey parts that I would prefer to be blue and the battle damage piece being glued to the figure. If you are a fan of Godzilla or anything blue, I would recommend adding this figure to your collection. I said before that I'll pass on all of Playmates Godzilla figures except for the Hong Kong battle version, which I'll most likely order on Amazon soon, but I just had to pick this figure up as not only is it blue, but an unexpected release at that. If you search it up on Google right now, you'll only find one image, which isn't even from Playmates themselves. I know collectors have thought about Godzilla's energized form but didn't actually expect Playmates to include a figure of it in Wave 2, so it was kind of a surprise for all of us. I actually found out about the existence of Playmates Godzilla Energized 2 days ago when I was having dinner at a Vietnamese restaurant in a mall and saw a boy playing with the figure along with the Kong that came with his axe. It took me a second to realize that the Kong figure was the one that came with his axe, as I saw the back of the box on his table, meaning that he got his hands on a Wave 2 release. I managed to catch a glimpse of the Godzilla figure and didn't exactly know whether it was from the Godzilla Kong the New Empire line, as I didn't remember a Godzilla figure that appears to be shrouded in blue ever being announced or leaked. I then rushed to the store after dinner and saw an employee restocking some of the new Wave 2 figures onto the shelves. What a coincidence! While looking at all of the new releases, I stumbled across the Godzilla Energized figure and realized that it is a somewhat unannounced release. I decided to return to the store the day after to grab it together with Tiamat for reviews. Speaking of Tiamat, there she is, ready for her review. So that will do it for the review. If you enjoyed it and wish to see more, be sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button, which helps to support the channel tremendously and will be greatly appreciated. That's all I have for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one.